Yes, a very good evening once again. Thank you so much for tuning in and welcome to the second edition of News Tonight. It's me, Michael Jordan Lukomoa. The national chairman of the NRM, President URA Museveni, has thanked the NRM leaders of Kampala for their unwavering support to the party and has urged them to support programs that are tailored at lifting people out of poverty. President Museveni was addressing Kampala NRM village chairpersons who had gathered at Kololo Independence Grounds to discuss matters of national development as well as those affecting wananchi in their areas.
While commenting on some of the concerns raised by leaders in the memorandum presented on their behalf by the NRM chairperson of Kawempe Division, Mayombe Daniel Chigozi, President Museveni urged all leaders to understand the issue of public service and socio-economic transformation.
To understand the issue of public service versus socio-economic transformation of the population.
The national chairperson first told leaders of the type of governance that existed during the colonial days that bred massive corruption through their bureaucracy, strengthening their resolve during the people's protracted struggle not to allow the wananchi themselves to elect their leaders.
You could see government veterinary drugs being sold.
Ngolaba eddagala ery'ebisolo ate nga litundibwa.
And the same with the drugs of humanity from the health centers.
Kyekimu n'eddagala ery'abantu okuvanga mu malwaliro.
Then I taught 2 times. During that time I taught in 1965, then 1967. After my O-level, A-level, I taught in schools. And you could see the misbehavior of the teachers towards especially the girl children. That's why, therefore, we proposed and fortunately NRM accepted.
The president pointed out that any challenge emerged of wages as the number of public servants increased and yet funds were needed for the construction of roads, electricity, health facilities and other social services. He said in the coming budget, the government will need over shillings 50 trillion, and out of that, shillings 8 trillion will be for wages. The president said that is the reason why the concept of leaders' circles was mooted and deemed more appropriate and workable, because the government will be putting in some money for the current and past leaders to use it, and it will act as their bank that will grow as more funds will be sent to the circles annually.
Village bank will grow.
N'olwekyo banka yaffe oba sako yaffe ey'ekitundu ekyo ekula.
Now, this was for the village, village parishes.
Kino kyali kya muluka.
Emiruka y'omu byalo.
Emiruka egy'omu byalo.
On this socio-economic transformation, President Museveni asked leaders to encourage wananchi to embrace the parish development model. For those in rural areas and the urbanities can use the peri-urban model, as well as take advantage of the increased production that will accrue from the PDM to buy and sell farmers' produce, process or even get involved in services.
Now, your point about the Miruka of Kampala,
ensonga yamwe ku miruka gy'e Kampala,
needing more money is very correct.
Nga mwetaaga ssente eziwerako ntuufu nnyo.
We are going to study that. There is no problem.
President Museveni also welcomed the idea of providing wananchi with working spaces in the markets as well as the artisan groups. He added that the same will be done for the skilling centers that will be expanded.
But the principle is the same.
Naye ng'enkola y'emu oba ekibalo kye kimu.
Weewole ssente ku magoba amatono ozikozese ozikomyewo omulala naye azikozese.
On education, the president said that more primary and secondary seed schools will be availed, but insisted on affordable education through day schools, as boarding ones take more money on things that don't have any bearing to education, like feeding and sleeping, among others. On the rigging of votes, President Museveni promised to discuss the issue when he meets leaders from all Kampala divisions. On having a clean city, the president said garbage bins should be placed at every 200 meters within Kampala city. The national chairman of the NRM party, President Museveni, pledged to meet all NRM leaders from all divisions separately to further discuss their concerns.
Is the issue of getting all our population out of poverty.
Yensonga y'okujja abantu baffe bonna mu bwavu.
Leader or no leader.
Oba oli mukulembeze oba toli mukulembeze.
That's why all this time we have been doing all these different experiments.
Yensonga lwaki tubadde tugezesa ebbanga lino lyonna ebintu ebyenjawulo. Programs ez'enjawulo. Ng'entandikwa. NADS. Operational Wealth Creation.
The Secretary General of NRM, Honorable Richard Todong, expressed his gratitude for the support NRM supporters have for their national chairman, President Museveni. He therefore urged the chairman, when time comes, to offer himself to be re-elected for the presidency, as his age more than qualifies him for the position.
I just pray that these many requests that the leaders of the party are putting before you to offer yourself in 2026, kindly take it seriously. We know at the right time the party will process this, but the demands we have as a secretariat from your supporters around the country is overwhelming.
The Minister for Kampala, Hajat Minsa Kabanda, appreciated government programs of Emyoga and the PDM, as well as the markets that have been provided to hawkers. Other leaders at the meeting included the Vice Secretary General of NRM, Honorable Rose Namayanja, the Director for Mobilization at the NRM Secretariat, Honorable Rosemary Senindeng, as well as senior officials from the NRM Secretariat, Shaidat Nasaku. UBC News.
President Yoweri Museveni has called upon universities in the country to work towards understanding the need for change, which includes manufacturing, expanding the money economy, and expanding of the services sector. Represented by Vice President, retired Major Jessica Alupo at the symposium on national transformation, Makerere University, the President informed the academia to generate and use the knowledge acquired abroad to transform the Ugandan economy. The symposium is the first of its kind, and it is a timely event as Makerere moves into her next 100 years of excellent service to humanity.
President Yoweri Museveni has called upon universities in the country to work towards understanding the need for change, which includes manufacturing, expanding the money economy, and expanding of service sectors.
Producing raw materials like cotton, coffee, cocoa, and so on. How did that system support our prosperity as Africans? The education system and the university education, for that matter, must be able to show this.
He was represented by the Vice President, retired Major Jessica Alupo, at the symposium on national transformation at Makerere University.
Therefore, in my opinion, the education system or university education should have the 6 elements described above. These are: understand the strength and weakness of the pre-colonial African societies so as to understand why they were conquered by the rapacious foreigners. 2, understand the colonial intrusion after the mutation of the slave trade into colonialism and the creation of the enclave economies that confined themselves into production of raw materials. 3, understand the need for change, which includes manufacturing, expanding of the money economy, and expanding the services sector.
The President said transforming the country should be a collective effort, urging them to leave their comfortable zones. And he said research should be applied. The First Lady and the Minister for Education and Sports, Janet Kataha Museveni, was represented by the Minister for Higher Education, Dr. John Chizesto Muyingo. She thanked Makerere University for creating innovation hubs that are going to empower students to start up employment for many in this country.
I commend Makerere University for taking the next step by setting up Makerere University Innovation Hubs. This reflects that our partners are committed to supporting university initiatives that align with our national development agenda, which is itself aligned with the continental and global agendas. With a few years left to the completion of the third National Development Plan, that is 2024-2025, I call upon all universities and Makerere to take a keen interest in the implementation of interventions that have been prioritized to achieve its 6 objectives. And these are 6 objectives. Under objective number 1, strengthen capacity for development planning. I call upon universities to support the Ministry of Local Government and Public Service through collaboration to strengthen the planning and development function at the parish level and bring the delivery of services closer to our people.
The University Chair of Council, Rona Magara, thanked the President for his contribution towards the university education over the years, and she promised that Makerere will strive to have institutional cohesion, networking, and transparency undergeared by transparent organizational development processes to ensure a professionally governed institution.
And so even for the chairs, the members of council present, I would like to challenge us. Let's come back to the drawing board. We are at very critical points in our nation, in the region, even as Africa. We can drive this change if we sit down and plan for the next so many years that are with us. How can universities become drivers of national transformation?
The Vice-Chancellor, Professor Barnabas Nawangwe, said the university is intentional about conducting research that is responsive to challenges facing society with a view that will help unlock the potential of more substantively contribute to the national development.
We must do things differently. We should not pride in volumes of books like people did in the 18th century. But we should see that whatever we do every day here at the university has an impact on our society. That's when we shall truly be a modern 21st century university. Thank you very much for the message.
Joseph Buule, UBC, Makerere University.
Prime Minister Robin Anabanja has described the country's trade with the East African region member states as one with a sound upward trajectory. Nabanja's allaying of Uganda's fears comes in the wake of demonstrations that have recently rocked the neighboring country, Kenya.
The joint security agencies of Uganda continue to closely monitor our borderline with Kenya from Busia, Tororo up to Karamoja areas to purposely protect our communities along the borderline and counter any spillover effects that could arise from the violent demonstrations. As a result, comprehensive deployments along the borderline have been put in place. The government of Uganda, Right Honorable Speaker, would like to reassure the public that all residents along the border are safe and secure. Let me go to energy. Right Honorable Speaker, the Ministry of Energy is in close contact with our counterparts in Kenya to ensure that uninterrupted flow of petroleum products. Access to trade. Right Honorable Speaker and colleagues, Government of the Republic of Uganda is working closely, like I've already told you, with our Kenyan counterparts to ensure that roads, railway, and sea routes remain open and secure to facilitate uninterrupted movement of goods. Below is my observation. Honorable Speaker, from the above data, it is very clear that for the days of 13th, 20th, and 27th March 2023, when the traffic fell due to demonstrations, the traffic flow of goods and general trade immediately picks up the following days in both Busia and Malaba entry points. The disruptions by demonstrations notwithstanding, our trade and traffic flow remain stable, and there is absolutely no need to panic. Our economy still remains on course to collect its revenue from imports and the general trade as programmed.
Speaker of Parliament, Anita Among, has tasked the Ministry of Education and Sports to present an accountability report on Uganda's expenditure in Egypt and development of Mandela National Stadium. The issue arose from a matter of national importance raised by an MP during a sitting today.
It's very embarrassing and shaming, Right Honourable Speaker, to see a team of Uganda hosting from a country which is even above East Africa. In Egypt, Right Honourable Speaker.
A total of 97 billion was appropriated by Parliament for the facelift of Mandela National Stadium, Nambole, in preparation for the 2023 CAF Games. Out of the 97 billion appropriated, a total of 81 billion was released to aid UPDF Engineering Brigade to handle works at the stadium.
Stadium where we hosted our Uganda-Tanzania game in Egypt was built with 96 Ugandan billion. We gave Nambole 97 billion for rehabilitation.
However, the works at the stadium that had been anticipated to be complete before the start of the CAF Games faced delays. In hosting of the AFCON qualifier matches, Uganda had to meet the cost of hiring a stadium in Egypt to host the games.
You can imagine the embarrassment we are going through, even our younger players.
In this regard, the AFCON qualifier match hosted on March 24th was supposed to be hosted in Uganda, but instead hosted in Egypt because Uganda had no stadium that meets CAF standards. A section of members of Parliament deemed this as an embarrassment to the country and wastage of funds meant to aid development of other stadia.
81 billion was received by the Ministry of Education and Sports, and that is the money as of now which is carrying out works.
According to the State Minister for Sports, Peter Gwang, a rehabilitation of Nambole Stadium by the UPDF Engineering Brigade is progressing well in compliance with the CAF requirements and will be complete by June 2023.
We are going to work hard to try as much as possible to have our next game, which is a home game, scheduled for 12th of June, be played at Nambole.
In 2018, CAF disqualified all Uganda stadia from hosting high-level games because none of the available stadia was found to meet the required standards to host such games. It's worth recalling that Parliament on several occasions appropriated funds for construction of stadia, including Nachivubo Stadium, Mandela National Stadium, Philip Omondi Stadium, among others.
Report. The three stadiums are not fit for any game, any serious game in an international game. This was 2018, so my concern between 2018 and today, government should have done something. So
90 billion was appropriated for construction of Nachivubo Stadium in 2018, 97 billion for renovation of Mandela National Stadium, design works done for Peche Stadium, among others. Others include Masaka Recreational Stadium, Fort Portal Stadium, John Akibua Stadium, and Buhinga Stadium. According to Minister Amos Lugolobi, the donors that had promised to fund the construction of two stadiums lost interest in the project.
The Chinese government had shifted the priorities, and they are no longer going to be able to fund the Akibua and Buhinga Stadium.
Speaker of Parliament Anita Among has tasked the ministry to present all necessary accountability of the 81 billion received for the construction of Mandela Stadium and the expenditure during the CAF Games in Egypt. She has also tasked the ministry to present all the contractual arrangements and necessary expenditure of all stadia across the country.
Tell us a reason why we should not hold you people accountable for a nugatory expenditure of paying money to play a game in Egypt.
A team of 5 members has been instituted to inspect works at Mandela National Stadium. Rehabilitation of Mandela National Stadium is ongoing by the Engineering Brigade under supervision of Engineer Lieutenant Peter Kidemuka. Susan Naung and Gloria Guitabinji reporting for UBC TV.
Uganda Revenue Authority officials have today had a cordial meeting with UBC senior management on issues pertaining to remittance, debt, interests and compliance. Dr. Peter Kagwa, UBC's Director for Finance, is optimistic that the meeting with URA led by Sarah Chelangat, the Commissioner at Domestic Tax, will help tackle the public broadcasters' debt woes.
Yeah, UBC, like any other government MDA that generates revenue out of the services that they provide, interacts with different suppliers, and in their interaction, definitely the tax comes in, VAT, withholding tax, pay as you earn from their salaries. So they are one of our taxpayers in one way or another, and because of this, it's important that they also understand the compliance requirements and how this compliance speaks into their business and the timing of some of these. And it was a cordial meeting because there are some tax issues that get clarified in such interactions, and all this enhance compliance.
So this is historical, that we are discussing the problems of taxes with UBC that actually accumulated from Radio Uganda and UTV time, and the liabilities have been accumulating to date. Currently, the President has directed that actually the taxes for UBC or the debt portfolio for UBC be taken over by government and others be completely scrapped. So today we had a meeting which was a familiarization tour by a delegation from URA to UBC to discuss the details and issues about our date with URA.
This is part of the collaboration that we have as government agencies to learn from each other and how best we can work together as government agencies to foster development of this country. It has been exciting. The place has really changed. There is some good thing here being done, and we are happy to build this country together through media, through tax collection, tax education, etc. Thank you.
We have been in position to say that now our staff from UBC and URA discuss and resolve and itemize the figures for tax. Of course, identifying what is the penalty, interest, and the principal amount. So when they finish that, both for withholding, VAT, and the payee, we shall be in position to meet again and determine the exact figures that actually URA is saying that it demands from UBC.
State Minister for Higher Education, Dr. John Crizesto Muyingo, has asked school administrators to portray professional ethics while executing their duties in schools. He was settling a dispute at Chibali High School in Namutumba district.
The Uganda Public Service Standing Order states that it is mandatory for a public servant to undergo transfer in line with their duties. This was not the case at Chibali High School, where Ewan Samanya Fred was given a transfer and failed to adhere.
The safunako baluwa, safunako simu lingamba ntibankyusizza before the living God. Nalamulabi ngabaga tulesani Mr. Mtoni.
Singati yafunda kutegeeze. Butufu nange sani badewa. Kubanga nange baluwa najiraba. Ate nze minister we. Era bitwe bitambula kweta suubira ogamba nti wa minister kino kyempulira nga sikirina supporting document. Nkulu tobadde wa mazima okuba nti tofunangako kigamba tuli transferred.
This has caused commotion at school and the community, which attracted the attention from the Ministry of Education.
Initiated the transfer as the ministry. I don't know whether somebody was with you as you initiated the transfer. The transfer has backfired. It has divided the community. It has divided the school. It has divided administration in the district. Because this one, I can say it without fear or favor. Even those that you're talking to give you information are divided.
Nti abantu balunga okoye esomero lino mulimu ebigala bya mirundi emeka ebiri era kuba nti abatwala esomero lino batukozemu akakodyo bakoze mobilization eyo nakulwa leero ye babona ketabe kuside yayo bamwigaliza nkuki ogate.
Linkat was only no first grade, no what, over 2,000 students at the school. He gets a lot of money at the school from the government, but he doesn't want to go anywhere, that the school is his.
State Minister for Higher Education, Dr. John Chrysostom Moyengo, appealed to teachers to practice professionalism and not waste time for the learners.
Please, 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 my teachers, seriously think about the learner. Avoid the situation that will make the learner disadvantaged. Forget about whatever situation, think and concentrate on the service of this country by taking the learners as the most important person in a school environment.
Woman Member of Parliament, Bukono County in Namutoba District, Persis Namuganza, asked fellow politicians not to interfere with technical issues in school.
And I want to appeal to my colleagues, the politicians, to stop. Really, it's a very bad habit for politicians to always interfere with technical people when they are doing their work and instead just go in to cause confusion. Because you can intervene, but there is positive intervention.
Samanya Fred was applauded for the services he rendered at Chibale High School, but asked to appreciate his new appointment.
Kagwe Fred, tumuenda inongo umuntu. Ayi webanga transfer deal. Tuzata buleta kolaki. Waza cheni kusaba mutufunira omuntu omulungi. Anateekateka isomero. Kubani omunaka mtubakyusa basomesa abali kuleeta obuzibu. Baleetega abandi ndikubona ngengege webamaze okuvunda omutwe. Enuma ebekola etya? Eyo ndebe maze okolaki? Okuvunda.
The headmaster was transferred. He's a very good man. He has worked so much to put this school where it is, and we need to respect him. But I wish him well to his new station, which is Chibuku SS.
Mary Namkose in Namutomba District.
The Uganda Electoral Commission has finally and officially got a new home after 5 years of rigorous search. However, the new home located on plots 1 to 5 7th Street, Kampala industrial area is temporary, awaiting for the construction of the final home at Lubowa National Housing Land before the 2026 general elections.
The Minister of Justice and Constitutional Affairs, Norbert Mao, has officially commissioned the newly temporary home of the Uganda Electoral Commission on plot 15 7th Street, Kampala Industrial Area, with a government pledge of having in place a new permanent home of the Commission at Lubowa National Housing Land before the 2026 general elections. The move comes after the relocation of the Electoral Commission offices earlier this year from Ginger Road to pave way for UNRA construction works.
Biggest body in making decisions. Whether you like their decisions or not, they always have a decision. Whatever needs to be paid, even if it requires a supplementary budget. I've already appreciated this interagency cooperation. We are one government.
Mao further urged the general public and politicians to respect the decisions of the Electoral Commission instead of endlessly challenging its decisions. The Works and Transport Minister, General Katumba Wamala, also graced the occasion.
The Minister of Finance, and we identified some local companies with the capacity to deliver on some of our projects without necessarily for us going out to look for that. National Housing Corporation is one of those which was identified.
Although the new home has provided some operation relief to the Commission's chairman, Justice Simon Biabakama, says there are still some challenges like inadequate offices for the staff.
Home will give the Commission
suitable office and storage facilities, a conducive working environment, and an enhanced professional image.
Byabakama further narrated how floods used to affect their operations at the old Ginger Road premises. Various political party leaders, Electoral Commission senior staff and several government officials, among others, attended the occasion. Miriam Nwomcha, Collins Juko, UBC News.
The Catholic community has condemned all acts of immorality that go hand in hand with homosexuality. These perversions, according to the Archbishop Paul Semogerere, are sinful in the Catholic community. His Grace Paul Semogerere disclosed this while celebrating the 10th anniversary of the pontification of Pope Francis at Rubaga Cathedral.
13th March 2023 marked the 10th anniversary of Pope Francis' pontification. His Grace Paul Semogerere hosted an event to celebrate Pope Francis.
In the past 10 years, the Pope has impacted the Church. First, with his overhauling of the Code of Canon Law.
His Grace urged the Catholic community to reflect on the Pope's teaching and how they can positively affect people's lives.
Since Pope Francis published that encyclical Laudato Si on the care for our common home, we want to set the environment as our pastoral priority with pastoral formation programs for the people of God in the Archdiocese.
Highlighting on Pope's activities in helping the poor and distancing from violence, the Archbishop decried the increasing acts of violence that are still witnessed in the country.
The common violence that strips people of their dignity. So as an Archdiocese, we have got to work hard to face these challenges which go against the dignity of the human person. I would like to send a warning message to perpetrators of violence that violence meted against the population taints the image of our country.
The Catholic community, however, has condemned all acts of immorality, especially homosexuality, denouncing the vice as gross and sinful.
If the Church condemns immorality, that is the right thing. If the Church condemns what is against the Bible, what the Bible teaches, that is the right thing. As a Church, we should not condone what the Church takes as evil. So homosexuality tendencies and acts, according to the teaching of the Catholic Church, are sinful. If it is just a tendency, a disorder, that you have an immature disorder, we discourage that kind of act and behavior.
His Grace says every enlightened believer would condemn such acts.
If the Pope condemns immorality, he's doing the right thing. He doesn't have to be paid for that because that is what he is. If the Church condemns immorality, that is the right thing.
Lydia Chomkama, UBC News.
Government agencies must clearly define the roles of the board and management, advises Ambassador Francis Butajira, the Chairman, Board of Directors, Uganda Registration Services Bureau. Ambassador Butajira blames board members of micromanagement of government entities, often affecting service delivery.
Clearly defined roles for the board of directors and management is key in strengthening the operations of government agencies.
Most of the agencies have failed because the board wants to ascend in the arena and manage, and that has brought conflicts. For me, I've said no. Let's define our roles. In that way, we can perform our supervisory role. So once we have done that, then we have left the management to do what they are supposed to do.
Alongside management, the board of Uganda Registration Services Bureau, led by Ambassador Francis Butagira has focused on making Uganda the best investment destination. The Bureau has also intensified its efforts towards formalization of businesses. The one-stop center in the heart of Kampala city has been a major milestone in their operations.
Before, an investor would run from one place to another. He would come to URA to register a company. Then he was sent to KCC for instance, for license. Then you were sent to Uganda Revenue Authority to pay money. What we have done is to put in place what we call one-stop center. In this center, all the players are there. If you want to pay, you go and register. You get a license, KCC is there. If it is a land transaction, land people are there. And then you go to the bank. It's in the same place.
Annually, the Bureau is given a non-tax revenue target by government. In the current financial year, the agency has a Uganda shillings 70 billion target.
We have done 57 before the end of the year. I can assure you we are going even to hit 100 because of our improved processes. So that indicates, shows you how it's an indication of our performance that we are able to collect this money.
Although the entity has recorded significant successes in various fronts, there is belief that much more can be attained through creating more visibility.
We have to communicate to the public the services we offer. If we are telling them to register a company, for instance, if we are telling them to register a trademark or a patent or a geographical indication and all of these things, then they need to know what advantages am I going to get by just moving from informal to formal. Others fear that if you formalize the business, the taxman will be on you. But we are saying no, there are other advantages.
The role of the board of directors of any organization is to supervise and direct management on policy matters. Dennis Igoa for UBC News.
The Institute of Certified Public Accountants of Uganda has asked graduates to seek for professional qualifications to assist them understand issues better and job access enabler. This was during the unveiling of the 4th Student Scholarship Program beneficiaries by the Institute of Certified Public Accountants of Uganda.
What is making us, up to date with the continuing professional development. So
the Institute of Certified Public Accountants of Uganda has over time nurtured young talents in the field of professional accountancy, morally and in kind. The Institute has this year offered a fully paid for sponsorship to 10 students, in addition to 30 others that have been sponsored since 2019.
The first one is Shadia Kiemba. This is a female from Mabira University Business School, and she did a Bachelor of Commerce degree. The second one is Frank Bamulinde, male, from Mabira University of Science and Technology.
The head of the Catholic laity in Uganda, who is also Deputy Managing Director of New Vision Group, Gavas Nyanabo, officiated the event, during which the beneficiaries were unveiled and urged them to be focused and be ready to achieve their goals in the accountancy profession.
The sponsorship means we will add more to those who are studying, pursuing the accountancy professional program. But what that means to everyone is that we should welcome this, we should encourage more and more people to study accountancy, and the final message is that we are looking for professional accountants.
The president of Institute of Certified Public Accountants of Uganda, Othieno Mayende, says the sponsorship is meant to escalate the appreciation of accountancy profession by the youth.
Because they surround you, but don't waste your energy over them. You are not going to change them. Get involved. Think so much about what we call the circle of influence, the things that you can change. And they are 85% of what determines what you will be.
The Director Education, Bosco Ntagare, explained that many young graduates from across universities and other tertiary institutions applied for the sponsorship, an indication that many Ugandans have appreciated the role played by accountants.
They were from 32 Ugandan universities and 3 from foreign universities. Then there were also 3 from tertiary institutions in Uganda. So once we got those, then we had to look at them and then shortlist. Of course, some were not qualified.
40 students have so far been sponsored by the Institute since the sponsorship was rolled out.
Yes, after 2 years and a half, if they are unable to complete, they start footing the costs that the Institute was.
Sudat Kaye, UBC News.
Talk with freedom. Get MTN Freedom voice bundles that don't expire. Dial *100 *21# or my MTN app for more bundles. Together, we're unstoppable.
TB kills approximately 30 people daily, and 247 Ugandans fall ill of TB disease every day. TB has killed dreams and families. We all deserve a chance in life to hustle, smile. We all deserve a chance to dream and be the best version of ourselves. It is preventable and curable. Know your status. TB testing, treatment, and all TB-related services are free in all government hospitals and accredited private health centers.
Are you tired of high fees and slow transfer time when sending money? Look no further. Airtel Money is here to revolutionize the way you move your money. We have revised our rates, and now sending money from Airtel to other networks in Uganda, East Africa, and to the rest of the world has never been more affordable. Plus, you can trust Airtel Money to get your money where it needs to go quickly and safely. Simply dial *185# and start sending money. Switch to Airtel Money today and experience unbeatable rates and top-notch services for all your local and international money transfer needs. Airtel Money. Instant, secure, borderless.
This isn't just a girl. She is the future. This is a teacher, a doctor, a community leader, our future president.
She is our family's pride, and as her father, I will protect her from child marriage and talk to her about the dangers of teenage pregnancy. We each have a role to play in empowering our teenage girls to protect them from child marriage and pregnancy, because when we empower them, we empower our nation. Protect the girl, save the nation.
Take action. Report any case of defilement or child marriage to the police or call Sawuti 116.
Iwakato, this is a quick call. I'm almost out of minutes. Now, the center.
Why rush through such important conversations? Airtel Uganda has made it possible for you to call across all networks in Uganda at the best rates with the new Bona voice bundles. Stay connected anytime, anywhere, with minutes valid for calls on all networks. Dial *100 *1#. Select voice bundles and select Bona voice bundles today. Airtel, the smartphone network.
The woman member of Parliament, Palisa, Kevin Kala, has urged the people of Palisa to prioritize agriculture to boost income generation. She said this during the belated Women's Day celebration at Obutet Primary School. Effective coordination, communication, and a work plan for successful rescue of aircraft and maritime transport have been outlined by the Steering Committee on Aeronautical Maritime Search and Rescue Committee. In a meeting conducted by the Uganda Civil Aviation Authority and Ministry of Works, stakeholders also stressed the need for improved data systems, equipment, and resources to smoothen this sector.
The Steering Committee on Aeronautical Maritime Research and Rescue meeting conducted is to engage key stakeholders to deeply discuss the resolutions from the Technical Committee to pave way for improved aircraft and maritime transport. It is a policy of the state to provide a national aeronautical and maritime research and rescue plan to meet domestic needs.
Mr. Chairman, we prepared a search and rescue plan which we are actually now trying to implement to build the necessary capacity in terms of human and equipment resources to accomplish the maritime and aeronautical search and rescue obligations and commitment.
The saving of lives recognizes no boundary and should receive the highest priority.
It's very important. What we are doing is very important. It's a sign that we want to develop these means of transport. As I talk now, we are trying to build a maritime institute in Namasagali. Our training of maritime people is depending on Dar es Salaam or Mombasa. We need to have our own.
If we are to have such a rescue, we must have a well-developed communication system so that people can be able to respond appropriately.
However, this sector is constrained by lack of enough human resource, equipment, action plans, and an updated data system to effectively carry out rescue processes.
I wish this country knows that such a rescue is very important, such that some assets, if we are rich enough to buy some assets, to be standby throughout without moving anywhere.
The only equipment I think we have, possible UPDF has equipment, Uganda Civil Aviation Authority possible has some equipment, but we are still saying we need to do more.
Now, for us to ensure that we carry out all these activities, we have to plan, budget for it.
On high seas, there are almost 600 emergencies every year, causing close to 250 ship sinkings and approximately 4,000 accidents annually involving general aviation aircraft. Lydia Chomkama, Juma Samba, UBC News.
UBC News tonight. Leaders and residents living in the vicinity of Mabira Central Forest Reserve have accused those responsible for the protection of the forest to be the ones again conniving with those who destroy it. Residents expressed their concerns at the launch of a tree planting campaign in Mabira Forest Reserve.
Leaders and residents around Mabira Central Forest Reserve have accused the National Forest Authority officers of conniving with those who illegally cut trees in the forest.
Being that they come to protect a resource which very many people want to encroach on, which many people want to exploit on, they end up being people who connive with the other, could be locals and maybe from outside, again to spoil, to destroy.
Nemotoka zive Kampala n'ogisanga nga bagitaddeko buleti ne bagamba nti order from above.
Leaders say they have tried to protect their forests in vain due to limited capacity and thus seek for the intervention of the relevant authority.
People must be taken to court. People must be arrested, convicted, and punished if we are to save Mabira.
It's against this backdrop that Nature Uganda, in collaboration with National Forest Authority, launched a tree planting campaign in Mabira Central Forest Reserve. The tree planting campaign was launched by the Executive Director, National Forest Authority, Tony Obong Okero, at a ceremony held at Blands Village in Lugazi.
This is the only forest remaining here. It is under a lot of threats. It is becoming surrounded by urban areas. So the demand has become so high, and the activity is not becoming sustainable anymore.
Obong also responded to the residents' outcry towards the forest.
We've got a lot of calls from this place, people reporting people who are cutting trees, and for us, we are not going to tolerate. As I talk now, some of your former staff here are at home.
Achiris Biaruhanga, Executive Director Nature Uganda, said this is done to protect the environment and the forests in the country.
It's a very important forest for our biodiversity, it's important for education, it's important for water, it's important for firewood, but we need to make sure that we talk, we conserve, we educate, so that the things that we are enjoying now can be enjoyed by our children.
In restoration of Mabira Central Forest Reserve, Nature Uganda is to plant trees on over 100 hectares, a move that has commenced today. Deborah Namamonde, UBC News.
Glow as you are with the new Spark 10 series smartphone from Airtel in partnership with Techno. Own the timelines with picture-perfect selfies using the 32-megapixel selfie camera, 256 GB storage, G88 gaming processor, and a strong battery to last the whole day. Toakana.
The Spark 10 smartphone comes with free 3 GB from Airtel and 100% bonus on weekly and monthly bundles every month for 3 months, so you can stay connected to a world of possibilities. Dial *100 *5# to enjoy free data. The new Spark 10 is available in all selected Techno shops countrywide. Airtel, the smartphone network in partnership with Techno. Stop at nothing.
10 years of supporting health in Uganda. This year, the Kabaka Birthday Run will mark its 10-year anniversary on Sunday, 16th April at Lubiri, starting 7 a.m. and continue the fight to end AIDS by 2030. Buy your running kit today at 20,000 shillings from Airtel shops, Benchuanuka, Fubani, New Taxi Pack, or Majestic Brands office in Bulage Mengo. You can also pay using Airtel Money. Dial *185 *5#. Kits purchased using Airtel Money shall be picked from Airtel Wampe or Shop. Proudly sponsored by
This isn't just a girl. She is the future. This is a teacher, a doctor, a community leader, our future president.
Their support meant so much to me. And as a teenage girl, I stayed focused and was protected from child marriage and teenage pregnancy. I will support other girls against child marriage and teenage pregnancy.
Take action. Report any case of defilement or child marriage to the police or call Sawuti 116.
Hey, Master Blaster! Touch him, man! Buy Jerrycan with muscle! Those ones who say go for you only. Mundawa! Best movies I teach you. When I'm going to which the scary because of the camera is very far. Is you serious? Is serious you? What? Yeah? You step it on it. Add kilometers to your legs and you get your sugar. We buy meat from Umaru and Umaru refuse to give you enough meat. Show him that they don't joke with you. Umaru,
okukakaluka n'okulungi kwetaagako omuntu akuyambako n'olwekyo tujja kukuteerawo embeera esaanidde osobole okukola ekisinga awamu teri kitulema.
Talking sport, after a season of about 100 games in Series A, B and C, the best volleyball teams will now face off for the ultimate prize in the 2022-2023 National Volleyball League playoffs that will kick off this weekend at the on the 1st of April 2023 at the old Kampala Arena. The games will stretch up to the 23rd of this same month, with 6 games scheduled throughout each game day.
Our
The biggest fixture of the opening weekend of the 2022-2023 National Volleyball League playoffs will be between the defending champions Indeje Elite and KCCA Women Volleyball Club in Serie A. The playoffs, which were launched today at the Old Kampala Arena after about 100 league games across the series A, B and C, will kick off on the 1st of April 2023 and run through the 23rd of April 2023 at the Old Kampala Arena, and will have 24 teams fight for the title.
We started the season with 42 teams. We've climaxed. So the top 4 teams in the different categories have qualified to compete in the playoffs.
Ladies are ready, and we have tried to train so hard for these playoffs, and hopefully we shall have our first game as a win.
Our first plan for the playoffs is to enjoy volleyball on court, and even as we go for the playoffs, the boys and the men are still hungry for more. They're still hungry to learn. They're still hungry to perform.
My boys are very ready, and all the players which had injuries, they are back. So we are ready for them. See, when you're going to play a team when you know it is weak, even the motivation is down. So now at least it is better that we know that the team is strong, so we have to also come when we are hard.
New team in Serie A, our target was mostly to go for playoffs. That was our main target. Since we have gone for playoffs, we are very happy.
While the venue might be smaller than the Lugogo Indoor Arena, the players and the coaches are determined to put up a great show. The organizers have also promised to shift to a desired venue if the need arises, and the Lugogo Indoor Stadium is available.
All games per now, they are all going to be here. And the competition of getting Lugogo per now is high. But in case our fight goes on, and your partners who had taken a space in Olgaga National, there is this time. Of course, we shall utilize that.
With a lineup of thrilling games and exciting matchups, this year's National Volleyball League playoffs will be ones not to miss.
That brings us to the end of all we had for you tonight. Thank you so much for wherever you were to watch. My name is Michael Jordan Lukuma, wishing you the best of the night. Bye-bye.
UBC, inspiring Uganda.
10 years of supporting health in Uganda. This year, the Kabaka Birthday Run will mark its 10-year anniversary on Sunday, 16th April at Lubidi, starting 7 a.m. And continue the fight to end AIDS by 2030. Buy your running kit today at 20,000 shillings from Airtel shops, Benchuanuka, Fubani, New Taxi Pack, or Majestic Brands office in Bulange Mango. You can also pay using Airtel Money. Dial *185 *5#. Kits purchased using Airtel Money shall be picked from Airtel Wampe or Shop. Proudly sponsored by
The Tales of Kasozi, brought to you by Uganda Communications Commission.
Hello? Hello? This is Kasozi. How can I help you?
Hey, Kasozi, my brother. Long time. We last met when we were at campus. It's been a while, but you are the person I'm looking for.
Campus? Really?
Hey, you don't remember me?
Okay, so how can I help you?
I'm stuck in Gulu making millions, and I need to urgently send money to my sick mother. But I can't find any mobile money agent near me. I've sent the money to your phone, as you can see the message. It might take a few minutes to come through, but I urgently need you to send the money to my mother. Let me send you her number, and you send it to her chap.
My friend, I'm afraid your mom is going to die.
What?
Because I don't know you, I never went to campus, and I'm also in Gulu. So can we meet at CPS, we talk about it?
Stay tuned for what Kasozi does next.
Tofera, refrain from unnecessary engagement with strangers over the phone. This message is powered by the Uganda Communications Commission.
Sent transport
sent to the wrong person? Here's how to reverse it with MTN Mobile Money. Dial *165#. Select My Account. Select Initiate Reversal. You will see your last 3 transactions. Select the transaction you want to reverse. Enter your mobile money PIN and you'll get an SMS confirmation that the transaction has been blocked from being withdrawn. And that's it. Please note, only transactions that haven't been withdrawn can be reversed.
Ramadani Mubarak, Ramadani Kareem.
Is Allah really wise? Well, among the attributes of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is Al-Hakim, the wise. This is a question that rotates within the minds of many of us. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Is Allah really wise? Well, we must admit that whatever in the heavens and the earth glorifies Him. Every atom bears witness that you cannot find any objection in what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has done or has created. Though some stuffs may appear objectionable, but when research is made, you find that indeed Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is the only being that is perfect in whatever He does. There is a well-known story of a rigid person who once visited a garden. When he reached the garden, he found that a very small fruit, a mango fruit, was being held by a very large and huge tree. Moving around, he found that a very big pumpkin was on a small and